Hello and thanks for joining us. Today, remembering a musical genius. He was a person bursting with music, a wildly prolific songwriter, singer, producer, one-man studio band and consummate showman. He was acclaimed as a sex symbol, a musical prodigy and an artist who did things his way, often battling with accepted music business practices. Today, Encore looks back at the life and music of Prince. And I'm joined in the studio by music critic Mark Thompson and Prince expert. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. You're also the editor of Jazz magazine. Now, first question. The world is mourning a musical legend today. Mark, what made him so?
You can't throw a party without playing a Prince song. That's my first answer to that. It's someone who's incredibly complex as a character. He managed to straddle the lines between black and white, gay and straight, being deeply religious and overly sexual at the same time. I mean, as a child growing up in the early 90s, he was almost like a rude word to listen to a Prince song. You felt a bit naughty listening to them. And at the same time, he was completely original in everything he did. All the work he did along the way, he did it his way, and that's the best compliment you can pay him.
Fred, why was he so unique?
He's saying about DJing. Sometimes I'm DJing, and you can't dance without a Prince song in the set. It's almost impossible. You must play. You gotta play Kiss. You gotta play dance music, sex, romance, or 1999. It's impossible. So. That's why I really love the tribute they made at the Apollo Theatre, because they dance to the music of Prince. And I also did the same thing that night, so it's great, yeah.
Well, Prince had hits like Little Red Corvette, When Doves Cry, Kiss and The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. His songs also became hits for others, among them Nothing Compares to You for Sinead O'Connor, and A Manic Monday for the Bangles, and I Feel For You for Shaka Khan. His music was torrential. He had more than 40 albums. He won multiple Grammys and an Academy Award. Elliot Richardson has more.
I Wanna Be Your Lover, the hit single in 1979 that set Prince on the road to stardom. The son of a pianist father and a jazz-singing mother, the boy from Minneapolis was embedded in music from a young age. He joined his first group when he was 12. His first record came aged 18. The world was about to become his oyster. Prince became a global star in 1984 with the hit Purple Rain. The Purple Rain album sold over 10 million copies.
You don't have to be beautiful.
2 years later, the hit Kiss catapulted Prince to even more fame. A unique voice, an outstanding guitarist, and a breathtaking dancer, Prince had it all and was drawing comparisons to Michael Jackson. Prince could write, compose and produce music, but he could also court controversy. In the 90s, he split with his record label and changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol. In 2000, he reverted back to his old name. Just last year, he released his 35th album, which was only available by streaming. Heavily influenced by jazz and funk, Prince was a creative pioneer of modern music.
So Fred, you've met him, you've seen him more than 30 times in concert. I saw him at the Zenith in Paris last year. He did something like 4 encores, I think.
Yes.
It was unbelievable. Tell us about one of the most memorable concerts for you.
Well, actually, it was in 2010, but not in a big venue, in a jazz club in Paris called The New Morning. I've seen Prince many times in big venue like the RCC, for example, or the O2 in London. But at The New Morning, it was quite different because it was like a communion with the artist, because we were like 500 persons, and he began to play around 2 a.m. in the night, in the middle of the night, and he ended at almost 6 o'clock. And it was almost 6, then we went away, and he came on stage once again and said, "You will never get out of here until the sun comes up, all right?" We said, "All right, boss." And then he played the chords of Purple Rain, but changed the lyrics and sang instead New Morning. new morning. So I can tell you, everybody was like crying and screaming, and it was unbelievable. And he was supposed to play a big set list of songs, but his effect didn't work. So he changed at the last minute the set list of his concert. That's amazing. Nobody can do that.
A true
especially at
improviser.
his age. And it was not an after show. It was only a concert. He was in Paris. He decided to go to the New Morning. We gave 80 euros in a bucket as a ticket. You know what I mean? So it was very, very strange, and so let's go crazy. And we went crazy. You know the song, Let's Go Crazy.
And Mark, he was totally non-conformist and totally unknowable to the media and the public. Do we actually know who Prince was?
Well, he was someone who was completely extrovert on stage and was famous for that. I never got to see him live, sadly, unlike you two. But away from that, he did live quite a private life. He was known to go away and hide himself in his house, but he was prolific during those times. He mic'd up every room in the Paisley mansion so he could record whenever he wanted. And he just held incredible high standards of both himself and those around him. There's an incredible story that his producer once told about how he asked for a camel at 3 a.m. in Minnesota, and he just couldn't understand why that wasn't possible. He didn't understand the word no. He didn't understand the idea that something could not be possible, because he just worked and worked and worked until it was.
Okay, well, tributes are being paid to Prince all around the world. Fans gathered outside his home in the US state of Minnesota when the news of his death broke. They hugged each other and laid flowers at the fence of his home and studio. There was an outpouring of emotion.
I just can't believe it's true. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe he's gone. I can't breathe. I just can't even talk.
No, I'm 44, so I grew up with these people. I grew up with Prince. So this one hurts. It hurts really deep because he set the stage for a lot of acts that follow.
He was like a Shakespeare or a Mozart. He was something out of this time. I mean, there was nobody like him. Michael Jackson was so special. And to have those two at the same time, like button heads.
And in New York, people took to the streets in a celebration of his life and music. Filmmaker Spike Lee drew a crowd of hundreds for an impromptu street party, standing on the porch of his Brooklyn base in a purple T-shirt in homage to the Prince song Purple Rain. It lasted all night long. There was also a dance party in Minneapolis where thousands of fans danced the night away to his legendary songs. It took place at the nightclub where Prince's Purple Rain was filmed. Meanwhile, you might notice a glimpse of purple out in the streets over the next few days. The cities light up in the colour that has started to symbolise the music legend. Now, Mark, few artists made a mark like he did. Reaction to his death around the world has been quite unbelievable.
Yes, it's very, very similar actually to the reaction that we saw when David Bowie passed away earlier this year. It's brought out people from all walks of life, including some of his ex-girlfriends. He does have quite an illustrious back catalogue. And among them is Madonna. Madonna came out, obviously an ex-girlfriend of his, and spoke about how much of a loss Prince was to her and the world. She says that he changed the world. He was a true visionary, said that she was devastated, and said that this is not a love song, which is a reference, obviously, to the duet that they made together. Now, to show that it wasn't just artists that came along with him in the 80s that he influenced. Look at Justin Timberlake, who showed that Prince transcended all genres, rock, pop, jazz, funk, and he says that he recalled hearing Raspberry Beret for the first time when he was 4, and he called him a once-in-a-forever artist. They say they don't meet your idols, that they don't let you down, that they let you down, but some of my greatest, funniest, yes, he was hilarious, and most prolific encounters and conversations about music came from the moments that I spent with him. So it's nice to hear that Prince not only influenced artists like Madonna, but also artists that have had a huge impact on modern day. There's also Missy Elliott, who said that Prince was a genius in the first world, and genius is the first word that comes to mind when you think of him. He made an impact on so many around the world, and that his music will live on and transcend to so many more across generations. But the photo that I love that people are sharing around at the moment is the photo that he tweeted out in February of his passport photo. Now, this stands out so much just because it's so Prince. I don't know anyone who's even happy with their passport photo, let alone someone who's got it so perfectly that defines their character, that defines who they are, and that's so iconic as an image alone.
Okay. Fred, how will he be remembered?
As somebody, as a live musician, as a live person, as somebody who was at home on stage. And he seems sometimes to be out of place in the real world of stage. But on stage, it was his home.
Okay, Fred, thank you so much for joining us. Mark, thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us for this tribute to a music great lost at the age of 57. Nothing compares to you, Prince.